Well, hey,
Hey,
roll tide.
roll tide.
Got a big win over Georgia.
Oh my gosh, I think my heart rate is just now coming down. It was crazy. We played well and we did the exact same thing that we did last year. Started off really strong and then held on for dear life during the second
Alabama
half.
way.
Yeah.
I almost went to that game. I don't know. Did I mention it to you last week? I considered going, but I was like, no, I just don't want to spend the money to go. Of course, the whole time I'm watching, I thought, should have gone. Plus, that's one of the stadiums I want to visit since I want to go to all the SEC stadiums.
Yeah. Well, you might have messed up the mojo.
Well, I can't mess up your superstition now.
For those of you that know me, it is no surprise. For those of you that don't, I am one of those freaks. Openly admit it, superstitious. It's just the thing.
Yeah.
Like wherever I'm sitting, if we're scoring, great. If we're not, I'm moving. I make other people move.
Yeah.
I wore the same shirt that I wore to watch the Georgia game last year. Watched it with the same people. So anyway, I'm a little bit of a freak about it. I came out of the bedroom. We were getting ready to go. My son is like, "Are you ready?" And then he knows about my mojo. And he's like, "Was that the shirt or something?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, this is the shirt. This is the necklace. These are the earrings. These are the shoes."
Yeah.
It was like, oh, my gosh.
Well, I actually thought about you during the game because we talked about it a little bit when you were leaving my house last week. And so during the game, I thought, I wonder what Mandy's doing, like if she's gone to the bathroom yet or if she's still sitting on the couch watching the game.
No, I only went to the bathroom at halftime.
Okay. Do you follow Suzanne Doty on social media, the girl from Later Daters that we like? Okay.
No.
Well, of course I do. And, you know, she's a big
Yes.
Georgia fan and she
Yes.
doesn't care for Alabama fans.
Yes.
She was talking last week. I'm just going to say that. I love her. She had some things to say last week and she made a couple of posts throughout the week wearing her Bless Your Heart glasses. And then she made a post while she was down there at the game in her vehicle one day and said something about sending Bama fans back to Tuscaloosa. And then she made another post about roll, tears, roll, and all that. So, of course, immediately after the game, I went to her page to start looking at all of her posts to see if people had commented. Of course they did. And it was nothing ugly. But,
Yeah.
they're all like, roll tide. So,
Now, the guy that she liked so
Yes.
much, was his name Avery?
Yes.
Okay, he was an Alabama guy.
Yeah.
And he was all about it. And, so even she had considered not dating him when she found out he was an Alabama fan.
Yeah.
I think that can go several ways, right?
I
but
get it.
Listen, much respect to you, girl. Even though you're a Georgia fan, like much respect
Yeah.
that you held the line on that.
Yeah.
But, I may have to open it up. I'm not sure. I may have to open it up.
Depends on how picky you want to
That's
get.
hard. That's hard for me. That's really hard for me.
Well, I think I've learned to deal with and compromise since my boys,
Yes. yes.
have gone to Auburn and are at Auburn. So, you just got to learn to keep the peace,
Yeah.
as best you can, or it can get ugly quickly.
Yeah. It definitely can. But one thing that I wanted to talk about tonight that's just been kind of on my mind is I know that we've addressed in the past, like the importance of female friendships and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What kind of sparked this is I've been thinking about this a lot more lately, and then a friend called me and echoed some things to me, and it was like we were on the same page, and I had never communicated those things to her, but sometimes friendships in your 50s can feel a little awkward, like you feel like maybe you're drifting away from certain people or changes in your life
Yeah.
are happening, and it sometimes, quite frankly, can feel like sixth grade all over
Yeah.
again, where you're trying to find your tribe and people that you thought would be in your life forever are kind of slowly fading away, and then you make new friends, and, it's just those groups too, like work. And, if you change jobs, you lose some of those friends.
Yeah.
And, I know you're intimately, aware of that. Because of where you worked, you have a lot of work friends and you still see them, but it's different. And so,
Well, that helps too because we all live really close to each other,
Yeah.
and most of us are in the same town.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case.
Right.
I happen to work at a school, so we were all near, but that's
Right.
not always the case.
and I think being is something you and I've discussed, and I discussed with this other person, being in that sandwich generation. You're kind of done raising your kids, but they're on the precipice of being full-blown adults and making adult decisions, but you still have to try to guide them in certain areas, and you may still be paying for the cell phone or whatever,
Yeah.
but you're also dealing with aging parents, ailing parents in a lot of ways, and you're just trying to find your way in that sandwich generation. I mean, I remember watching my mom go through this with her parents, and then having me, and now we're at that phase of life.
Yeah, that's true. But like what you said, being in that sandwich generation where you're sort of letting go of your kids, but they're still, for lack of a better term, strings attached.
Yes.
You're paying certain bills, or, they're not totally independent. And then you've got older parents who don't necessarily need you every day, but things come up and you start to notice little differences in health and personality and things like that. So I did have some things I was going to share, and I don't know where like this is coming from tonight. So who knows? It may be the half a margarita I'm drank, but sometimes I get emotional for no apparent reason, but I guess that's maybe menopause.
Yeah.
But I will say, like today, I have been struggling. And I've not gotten upset about it today, of course, now that I'm sharing it with you. Sometimes when you talk about it,
Yes.
the emotions come out. And it's stupid stuff. Like, I got up today. Of course, I've got on makeup today and my hair is fixed and I'm, somewhat dressed. I came home and changed pants because I was literally about to bust out of my jeans, which was part of my mood today.
Yeah.
But, it's just been one of those days where you feel old and you feel like you look old.
Yes.
And it's so stupid to get so emotional about it.
It's not. It's not.
I know that we're not old. We're 50. But it just sucks feeling old.
Yes. Yes.
Lord, help me get through this episode.
Yes.
It's just like I looked at myself in the mirror today, even putting on my makeup, and I was just like, I want these bags gone from my eyes, these jowls that I've got that are, I feel like are getting more and more obvious. It's hard to look at yourself in the mirror
Yeah.
and think. I know I've said this before a million times, where my grandmother used to say, I look at myself in the mirror and I think, who is that? Because my mind is still young, but my body's not.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, y'all, I'm going to get it together in a minute. But it's just hard when you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't look how you feel.
Well, you don't recognize who's looking back at you.
Yeah.
I have those moments a lot. And I think that if anyone listening is being honest with themselves, they're having those feelings too. And that kind of goes along with what we talked about, being comfortable in our skin and all of that. That doesn't mean that you're comfortable as in complacent with where you are. You still want to look good for your age. I want to look good for
Who
somebody
wants to look
younger.
old and haggard?
Right. And not even, I don't even want to look good for my age. I want to look good to be 40.
Exactly.
Like, I want somebody to be like, dang, girl, you 51? I mean,
Right.
I thought you were 38.
Exactly.
That's what I want. But at the same time, when I say being comfortable in my skin, I mean, I'm comfortable with me and who I am as a person, my character.
Yeah.
I know that I have good character. Do I make mistakes? Yes. Do I fumble the ball a lot? Yes. Do I cuss people out in traffic? Every single solitary day that I leave my
Have
house.
arguments with people in the shower. These pretend arguments.
Every day, every day. But honestly, what I mean by be comfortable in your skin is be comfortable with who you are and the decisions that you make in your character. I don't feel a bit bad if I say, oh, I want to, get a tan, get a spray tan, which I desperately need. Or if I say I want to go get some Botox in my 11s or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, I want to be able to think that I have some pride in myself and that I look good.
Yeah.
Am I going to be a runway model? No. Am I ever going to be a runway model? Was I ever a runway
Right,
model?
yeah.
No. I'm 5'3". But, that's why I hone in so much, I think, about the menopause is it affects a whole lot of stuff. It affects your skin. It affects the way you feel. It affects your mood. It affects your waistline. And those are things that are really, really hard. A guy grows old and so what? But a woman grows old and everybody's got to point out her flaws.
Yeah.
And, I think you've got to give yourself grace when you feel that way because I feel that way a lot. And I don't like sometimes who's looking back at me in the mirror and I still feel 21 and go do things with my kids and think I should be able to keep up a lot better.
Yeah.
And I'm an active person, but I can't just go out and go run 10 miles.
Anytime you feel down about yourself, of course, people are going to say, you're beautiful inside and out. I mean, the typical things that people say to kind of help your spirits. And I do always appreciate that kind of thing. But you know me, and I can just be a hard ass, to put it lightly, or to put it bluntly. And I just don't like fluff. And I know we've talked about this before. And I do have to balance out taking compliments versus wanting the cold, hard truth. Because honestly, that's what motivates me more. And that's what challenges me more. Like, I feel like sometimes I feed off of challenges because that gives me some sort of purpose or I have some sort of goal. Otherwise, I tend to get very complacent with things. So, but today is just one of those days where it doesn't matter if somebody was to tell me that. It's not going to affect how I feel. It's not going to affect my mood. But I've noticed, I don't know that it's today. Now, I probably will wake up tomorrow and feel better and, be more positive about it. But I'm noticing myself. And listen, I'm not getting depressed, so please no one worry. But
Calm down.
calm down. Chillax. But I just notice more often that I'm looking older. And there's nothing I can do about it except to go get the back sucking out or to go get a little lift, and so then you struggle with, is that who you want to be? And then where does it end? Or do you want to age gracefully, as they say?
I don't. So if you're asking, and and I make a lot of sarcastic comments. I'm a smart aleck. I'm very quick-witted. I make quick little things, but I'm dead serious. Do I want to grow old gracefully? Okay, I'm the kind that might think about once in a while getting a Subaru and maybe letting my gray grow out. And then I go, what? Snap back into it. What are you thinking? And listen, I know I'm not going to be Christy Turlington, Cindy Crawford. I get it.
Yeah.
But I remember saying something to my grandmother about, I'm going to go get plastic surgery or whatever. And she shamed me so bad and said, Mandy, have you ever gone a day in your life without me or somebody else telling you that you're beautiful. And I was like,
I'm like, yeah, many.
I was like, well, at the time I was like, well,
Right.
no, probably not. And I see what she's saying,
Yeah.
but there's nothing wrong with doing things if it makes you feel better. And just like I said on another podcast, if I ever win the lottery, I won't tell anybody, but there will
You'll
be
know.
signs. My belly button will be on my forehead because I will have it all pulled up. I will have a Kim Kardashian booty. I mean, I'm going to look. I'm not ashamed. I would do it.
Well,
I think do what makes you feel
Yeah.
better, but don't. But I also want to say this to you as a best friend of 43 years, and you can roll your eyes.
I
and
probably
say,
will. I'll
and
do it in my
say
head.
it's fluff and all of that. I agree with you that I don't want people telling me something just to tell me something to try to make me feel better.
Yeah.
If they're not sincere.
Yeah.
But I think sincerely, you are a beautiful woman. You are more critical of yourself. And I think sometimes you don't like to hear it because you see kindness as a weakness and you think people are blowing smoke up your butt.
Yeah.
But I would pass the hat and say, everybody put in $1 that thinks that this woman is attractive, and I could pay off your mortgage. So,
Well, I mean, I know you feel that way, and I do appreciate it.
and I do feel that way. I'm not blowing smoke.
But you know, if there's days that you don't believe it about yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
what does it matter?
Yeah.
What does it matter what someone else says?
Yeah.
You know, in the moment.
Yeah.
But again, nobody be like calling or texting me. I'm fine. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna wake
She
up
does
fine.
not have dysmorphia, although I think at this moment she does.
But it's like today I was out running errands, and I was actually on my way to World Market to get another one of these. We have matching margarita
We have matching
glasses.
margarita
I've
glasses.
had one forever, like a year. I think I got it when we started doing this over a year ago, and I only got one. And I finally thought, why don't I just go back and get the other one so we can match? Anyway, so I was at World Market, which, by the way, I'm kind of going off topic for a minute. I went to just get a margarita glass, one glass. Okay, you know what I walked out with? 4 pillows, Halloween decorations,
Who doesn't need a
margarita
pillow?
mix, and a margarita glass.
Who doesn't need pillows?
And so the girl checking me out, she said, so I'm guessing it's a margarita kind of night. And I said, you can say that. And she said, well, I'm just going to let you know these are strong. I said,
And you
"Well,"
said, say less.
I said, okay. And then I never do this. I said, well, you know, my best friend and I have a podcast, and it's called Mom Bods and Margaritas. So, you know, we'll just have one. And she was like, oh, she's like probably 22. So who knows what she's
do
thinking.
I care?
But
no.
anyway, so on the way there, I was listening to my playlist, and it was whatever is on my phone, and, you know, it's just random stuff. Well, a song came up from, I guess it would have been maybe the 90s. Not for me, at least. Like, music and songs will take me back to a certain
Yes.
place. I could tell you almost the year and month of something happening in my life because of a certain song. But what it also does, especially on days like today, is whatever the song was that I was listening to, it took me back to like my early 20s. And so I go back to picturing myself in my red Saturn, you know, or my black Honda Accord that I loved, and just being out and about, or
Yeah.
being at home cleaning my house when I used to blare the radio on Saturdays. But a lot of the times it's when I'm out in one of those two vehicles, but it takes me back to being younger. So I'm feeling younger. When I'm thinking back,
Sure.
I'm younger. I look younger. I have more energy. And even the mindset back then, like when you're in your early 20s, you feel invincible. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you don't think about death. You don't think about old age. you don't think about any of the stuff that you think about now.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're going to live forever, and you don't worry about a lot of the same things that
And
you
your
worry about
parents,
now.
and your parents are going to live
My
forever.
parents were like
in their 40s.
not even my age when I was in my early 20s. Like,
Right.
I'm older than my parents now
Yeah.
than when I was thinking back to that time.
Yes.
And so, gosh, there's just so many days where I miss those days. Mm-hmm. And it sounds so bad to say because it makes it sound like I don't enjoy where I am in my life now. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. There's something to be said for feeling young again and just not having to worry. I have turned into a more of a worry wart. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like my dad, and he was always like that, and he is still like that, and I never really was. Mm-hmm. I've gotten like that the older I've become, but I just worry about so much stuff, whether it's in my personal life or just in the world, like watching the news or thinking about the future. Like, I worry about stuff all the time, and I used to never worry about anything. And I didn't realize what a blessing that was and how freeing it can be to not worry about stuff.
Yeah.
And so I could feel myself getting emotional in the car today, just going back to that time, just not realizing back then how blessed and how lucky I was to just be in that moment, to be in that time, to be younger and freer and just like not as emotionally and mentally drained as I am now.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I get it. And shout out to the red Saturn. Just to
When I had my red Saturn, you had your white Prelude.
my white Honda Prelude, 5 cent in, so you can see up in my window. That's a shout out to.
My windows were tinted too, and I had the black bra on the front of my car.
Yeah, I remember vividly.
Did you have a bra on your car?
No,
Okay.
no, but that was my shout out to Mike Jones, rapper. Anyway, no, we burned the roads up in those cars, and it was so fun, and I felt like things were fun. But also, you have to think about, and I know I sound like I'm 107, and just bear with me. Those were the times where it was like, hey, what are you doing on the phone?
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of cell phones.
No.
There weren't a lot of beepers. Some people had beepers, but it wasn't like
to say that to beepers.
there were some beepers. So
But you meant they were payphones because you had to pull over and call
but you
somebody
could
and
find
payphone.
somebody, but it was rare, right? I mean, if you really needed them, you could put in 911.
Right.
But
And they'd pull over to payphone.
yes, but what I'm getting at is people were not accessible. They were living in the moment.
Yeah.
And I recently went to the beach. I took maybe 2 or 3 pictures the entire time I was there. One was like of the ocean, like no people in it. One time I took a selfie of me and everybody sitting under the tent. Another time I took a selfie of me and my mom frying out on the beach. But there was none of that pressure to document everything. We've talked about that before, the highlight reels, right? None of that was a thing. There was no social media. There wasn't any of that pressure. And we just lived in the moment. And if we went to somebody's house and hung out at their apartment, then it was like, hey, we're going over to so-and-so's house. And everybody just had to trust how to get there.
But you know what we did? We had the Kodiak film reels.
Yes.
Okay. And it went in your camera, and you either bought like the 12 exposure or the 24 exposure or whatever. And if you wanted to take pictures that night, you took them.
Yeah.
And you had either 12 chances to get a picture or 24, and you didn't know what they looked like.
Yep.
And after that reel was done, you were done taking pictures for the night. So you could document somewhat, but there were no redos.
No.
You know, there was no, let me get a better angle.
Let me edit. Let me put on a filter.
And, you know, I do kind of miss those days also.
Yeah. And it was fun, and I drove entirely too fast. I still do. But
And down the parkway.
just running up and down the parkway and just finding who we could hang out with. And, you know, it was just a different time. But I think I'm with you. I can drive down the road and listen to certain songs and bawl my eyes out.
Yeah.
Just the nostalgia. Mm-hmm. I'm about to cry right now thinking about it.
Well, another thing, because we're kind of talking about like being in the moment and taking the pictures and having to document everything. Like, I am really bad about that. I don't know if it's bad or good, because I do like to document everything. I've always been like that, though. Even when I was younger, I think I've mentioned before, I used to keep my video camera in my car.
Yeah.
So I've always taken a lot of pictures and videos, but because I like to see those memories. But one thing that I've also been struggling with lately, and I've noticed it more and more, is like, I am getting so exhausted with social media.
Yeah.
Which, again, I know we're sitting here doing a podcast and we post this on social media and I'll put it on TikTok and Facebook and all that. But I think my point is, and maybe some of it is that I'm getting older, but being an empty nester, I obviously have more time to do things that I want to do. And some days I find myself so busy and productive. I can get stuff done around here. I can go run errands when I need to. Like, I told you earlier when we were having dinner, I've got like 3 appointments the next, week and a half. And so that's nice to be able to be home and get everything done that you need to get done. Just the typical cleaning and running errands and all that. But there are also some days where I'm bored out of my mind. Mm-hmm. And it's not like weeks where I'm bored and weeks where I'm super busy. It's just one day I might be busy, one day I might not. But I'm just wondering if I'm getting on social media more often. Mm-hmm. I'm mainly on Facebook. Like I said, I should have been born a boomer. Yeah. But Facebook is my go-to. And then I will kind of look through Instagram, which I don't even have a lot of Instagram followers because I don't even follow a lot of my friends. I'm rarely on TikTok, but to me, it's getting mentally exhausting being on there, because it's either like pages pop up, it's not my friends. It's like pages or ads, or you see the reels come through. It's not like when I first got on Facebook and where you just are catching up with people that you know. Right. Like, that is what I like about Facebook. So often my feed is like, I don't even know if it's half of what my Facebook friends are posting versus for sure. The other stuff. And I usually will look on there and then I'll go to Instagram and kind of look through there. And then when I get done, I'm like, I don't know. I'm struggling with it for whatever reason. I feel like it's becoming a waste of my time.
Yeah.
And you can easily like be in your bed or on the couch and scroll for an hour or two. Like, it's amazing how much time can go by. Like, how much is too much?
Yeah.
And when I'm here during the day, on those slow days, I don't want to fill my time looking at social media.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of gotten to a point to where it's almost triggering for me, if you will, when I catch myself doing it, or if I catch someone else doing it. And the phone thing for me is always an issue. And so, like, 2 rules that I've always had for my kids, and I hope they still do it, but I don't want my family on the phone when we're at the table, whether or not we're at a restaurant or here. Like, don't get on your phone when we're at the table. And for the most part, they don't. They're pretty good about it. And then, like, it drives me crazy when I am around a group of people. When people are on their phones, when you're hanging out or spending time together, it just bugs the mess out of me, because I feel like am I boring you? Like, am I not important to you? Like, we're sitting in the living room talking and somebody picks up their phone and they're doing this while we're talking. I know probably 9 out of 10 times you're not responding to a text from a family member. You're scrolling on social media. Like, to me, social media is becoming a nuisance.
Oh, it's
and it's
work-
my personal issue, but
It's-
like,
no.
why are you scrolling on social media when we're supposed to be hanging out and having time together? I think it's rude, and I just don't understand it. I feel like it's become an obsession and an addiction for some
is.
people.
It
and
is.
It drives me crazy. And
There-
I think for the most part, I'm pretty good about not doing that when I'm around people. I don't really get on my phone, and I don't want to get on my phone. And I wish that you wouldn't want to get on your phone. And I say you in general, but I just, I don't understand why people feel the need to just always be on this device. And I don't know how it's going to get any better.
It's not. It's going to continue to get worse, and I'm not trying to be a doomsdayer, but it is true. Have you seen the movie WALL-E?
I have not.
Okay, well, you need to watch it because
Is that what it's about?
It's a cartoon, and it's about people getting lazy and just letting everything's done for you, and you just are lazy and sitting around just staring at a screen and whatever.
Huh.
And they have done studies, when kids get grounded and you take their electronic devices, they have done studies, and I don't want to misquote it. And so I want to say it's 20 times more, but it might be more like 5 times more. So don't hold me to the number, but the sentiment is the same, that social media and electronics are 20 times more addictive than cocaine. So it is a dopamine hit.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm guilty of it. I love to get in my bed at night and scroll on TikTok. It is my life's work. I love it. But I shouldn't be doing it. I should be doing other stuff. However, I will say it is, to not get too spiritual, but it is what it is. This is the way I feel. The devil will do anything he can to distract you, because having relationships with people, encouraging each other, helping each other through a bad day, those types of interactions that you have with your friends and your family, those that you're closest to, that can't happen with your head buried in a phone. And I'm addicted to it a lot. It's a great distraction. There's some funny stuff on there. There is some helpful stuff on there too. But, at the end of the day, when it is affecting your relationships and you're always accessible, and that goes back to what I was talking about with our lives being much simpler.
Yeah.
And that's why the nostalgia is there. It's like we didn't have to live in a highlight reel. We didn't have to be accessible. I have Teams on my phone, which is like Zoom. I have email from personal and work. I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
People can call me. People can text me. And you are consistently being pulled in 50 different directions, and it's not healthy. Unfortunately, it also has an extremely dark side where people are looking for validation.
Yeah.
And not only just with their looks, but people are having an affair as a result. They are getting likes and comments and everything, even though they're married, from people that they have a past with or whatever. And it just becomes this distraction, and you get a dopamine hit every time somebody likes your photo or sends you a message or whatever. And I don't know what the answer is. I do think it's going to get worse.
Well, and again, this is just my personal issue and how it affects me. And it doesn't affect everyone the same. And like I said earlier, you work full time, and so you don't have as much downtime as I do during the day. So when you get home, if you want to get on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, who cares? I think my point is that everyone's situation is different, and dependent on your situation, how much is too much. Mm-hmm. For some, 30 minutes a night may be too much. If you're married and you've got young kids and you're going here and there, and then you've got baths and homework and all this, and then you're trying to fit in your scrolling on social media for 30 minutes, that's not as feasible as someone that is at home during the day and can do that. So again, this is my issue and what is good for me. But I do think that the line has to be drawn somewhere with everyone. And, somebody could argue, well, what's the difference in you wanting to watch TV versus being on social media? My response to that would be, when you're on social media or when you're on your phone, it's just you on your phone. Doesn't matter who else is in the room. It's you on your phone. At least when you're watching TV, you can watch it with someone else, or you're watching the same show, or you can talk about it, or, it may be something that y'all have in common. So again, I'm not trying to say that the TV is all good and social media is all bad, but I think my point is you can still have a connection with someone if you're at a movie, or if you're at your house watching TV, or sitting around the table talking, or whatever, versus when you're on your phone, it's just about you. And it doesn't really matter who else is in the room. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting in a funk where my kids are gone, and so I'm trying to navigate being an empty nester and figuring out my days. And then, I'm on this, I call it a diet. It's not really a diet. I'm just changing how I eat and exercising, which is hard for me some days. Today's one of those days because I feel like I can't notice a difference. And I've been working out 5 days a week for almost 2 months because I've got it all charted. And I've been seeing my dietitian for a month. I've been logging breakfast every single day, my lunch for the past 2 weeks. And I'm all about slow and steady. And that's really what I need, and that's what's more sustainable for me. But at the same time, I'm fueled by results.
Me too.
And I'm discouraged with lack of results. And so today has been a day where I'm really worried about my calorie intake. And I'm not counting calories. I weigh in tomorrow morning, and just like the past 3 Wednesdays, I'm going to get on there thinking, I know I've gained a pound or two, because I don't know how many calories I'm taking in, which I could count, but I'm trying to not do that. And so, like yesterday, I thought, oh yeah, maybe I can tell in this outfit. Maybe there's a slight chance. Well, today, I had on this top, but I had on jeans that I've had for a while, and it's the first time I've put them on in a long time. So I was hoping that I would be able to tell a difference, because it's not something that I wear on a weekly basis.
Right.
They were still so skin tight on me. And, I'm trying to remind myself, Lisa, you've been doing this for only 2 months. I mean, you're eating better, you're working out. There's got to be some kind of shift within my body going on that I'm not fully aware of at the moment.
Right.
But when I put on clothes and I can't really tell, I mean, even in this sweater so much, it's discouraging, because it's being at this age to where I'm working out, I'm eating better, and yet I cannot tell a difference today. So there's a huge part of me that is like, why am I doing this? I know that it's going to make me healthier, and I know that it's better for me to eat these foods versus these foods, but if I'm still going to look old and fat anyway, what difference does it make? You know what I'm saying?
When I was in high school, I could drink extra water and lose 5 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, please tell me we're not the only ones. Somebody
Sure
drop
we're
a
not.
comment, please,
I know.
and let us know that.
Send us a private message.
I mean, it can't possibly just be the 2 of us on this planet. And I weighed this morning, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. You're just kidding. This is a cosmic joke. I'm trying to buy black market terzepatide or something on the down low. I'm gonna have to. I can't. I don't know. I can't do it.
Well, I'm going to be honest with my dietitian next week when I meet at the end of the week. That's still a week and a half away, which a lot can happen, with my body and my attitude. But I am going to say that I'm struggling with not counting calories, because obviously part of this journey, yeah, I know I need to eat better. I know I need to exercise. I know it's good for my bones. But I also want to lose weight. And this isn't me being vain. This isn't me saying this for somebody else to say, you don't need to lose weight. You look fine. Listen, I read off to y'all what my numbers were for my body scan. Okay? There's no reason why I need to have 60 something pounds of fat in my body when I only weigh 150.
Yeah.
So let's be honest and let's be real. The numbers don't lie. I do need to lose some weight, and I do need to lose some fat and gain muscle.
I think we are not alone. I think pretty much everybody that is our
So
age.
we're all going to be old and fat together.
Hell no. No.
One of us has to get it figured out,
Well-
and not be a gatekeeper and share the secret.
Listen, maybe so, but I'm going to sell a kidney and have a facelift. So, we're in a weird place. And I say that in all seriousness. We've got our parents that we're worried
Yeah.
about. I mean, my dad is not in good health at all. He is on hospice. He has progressive supranuclear palsy, which worries me. It is, a gene mutation, the way that I understand it. And so there's not a ton of information on it, but it's similar to like an offshoot of ALS. So I worry all the time that that's going to happen. I have cancer on one side of my family, heart disease on the other. I'm consistently worried about my health too. And as you get older, like I said, you're looking in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself looking back. And I want to feel good and look good. I mean, hell, I'm trying to date, trying to get a boyfriend. So you can't look like a toe and,
Yeah.
be built like a beanbag and try to get a date. So we got to solve this.
You don't want to be a 3 looking for a 10.
And I don't want
I'm
any.
not saying you
and
are.
I-
You know what I'm saying.
And I don't want any 3s looking for me. And I may not be a 10,
There you
but
go.
please don't come a knocking because I'm not at home.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we always have laughter.
Always.
And, I think just love yourself. That's the message I wanted to get
Yeah.
across because it's a hard
It's easier
season.
said than done.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
It's easy advice to give, not to take.
It is. And,
It's a process.
it's weird. Friendships are weird at this time in
Yeah.
our lives and trying to have a social life and trying to let go of your kids and still be there for them when needed and
Yeah.
take care of your parents. And it's just a lot. And I know we're not alone and we just have to be able to lean on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we haven't been too depressing tonight.
No, we're never too depressing. We speak pretty
So,
real and from the
yeah.
heart. So
Well, I have a feeling that probably a good bit of those that listen can relate.
yeah,
If you can't, and you probably will one day.
yeah.
So here's what you have to look forward
And
to.
if you're the 22-year-old that world market, I mean, I'm laughing about that because Lisa is more reserved about sharing things like that.
Yeah.
I would put up a billboard. I tell everybody. I mean, shout out to my new listener in San Antonio, Texas, because I met her and have, roped her into listening to the
I was about to
podcast.
say that because you texted me earlier this week saying, by the way, we have a new listener from Texas.
Yeah. So when I travel, I tell everybody about our podcast. And so I'm the salesperson. Lisa is obviously operations.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your week.
All right. Y'all have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.